Tajikistan is the poorest country in Central Asia, and somehow it's building a structure taller than the Eiffel Tower that could give it control over the region's entire water supply. This is the Rogun Dam. Tajikistan is a landlocked nation of about 10 million people, tucked into the rugged heart of Central Asia, sandwiched between Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and China. It is the poorest of the former Soviet Central Asian republics, a country with almost no natural resources to speak of, heavily dependent on its neighbors ever since the days of the USSR. In a part of the world where neighbors like Kazakhstan sit on massive oil reserves and Uzbekistan exports natural gas, Tajikistan has almost nothing underground worth selling. It has extraordinary abundance mountains. It means rivers. River means power. Around 7 in 10 people in Tajikistan face severe energy shortages, especially during the brutal winter months, when temperatures plunge and darkness falls early. That's the majority of an entire country going without reliable electricity when they need it most. During the brutal Central Asian winter of 2007 to 2008, there was a significant loss of life due to energy shortages. People didn't just lose power, they lost their lives. And then Uzbekistan made it even worse. In 2013, they simply cut off Tajikistan's gas supply. Overnight, that was 95% of the country's gas gone. Factories shut down, people froze. That was the moment Tajikistan's leaders said enough. We build our own way out. The idea for the Rogun Dam wasn't born yesterday. The dam was first proposed in 1959. A technical scheme was developed by 1965, and construction finally began in 1976, when Tajikistan was still part of the Soviet Union. The Soviets had a grand vision. They would dam the Vaksh River, a powerful glacier-fed waterway carving through the mountains of southern Tajikistan, and build the tallest dam ever conceived. A 333-meter wall of earth and stone taller than anything ever built before or since. A machine capable of generating as much electricity as 3 nuclear reactors. But then everything fell apart. The Soviet Union collapsed, civil war tore through Tajikistan, and in 1993, a flood destroyed what little had been built. Just like that, the dream was gone. For 20 years, the Rogun Dam sat there, abandoned, a massive project that everyone knew about but nobody knew how to finish. Hope returned in 2004, when Russian aluminum giant Rusal offered to invest in Rogun's completion. But optimism quickly faded. Rusal wanted a smaller, cheaper version of the dam. Tajik engineers refused. A shorter dam would cut energy output by 1/3, undermining the project's core purpose. Negotiations dragged on for years before Rusal withdrew in 2007, leaving Tajikistan alone again. So Tajikistan did something extraordinary. Desperate for money, the Tajik government launched a public share offering in 2010, selling it as a patriotic duty. Beneath the surface, the reality was harsh. Public sector workers had their wages deducted without consent. Students and families were pressured to contribute. The country was essentially taxing itself into existence, brick by brick and dollar by dollar, to keep the dream alive. And then came the neighbor who had the most to lose. The Vaksh River doesn't stop at the border. It flows straight into Uzbekistan. And Uzbekistan needs that water every summer to grow its crops, especially cotton. So when Tajikistan said, "We're building a dam," Uzbekistan heard, "You're taking our water." The tensions weren't just diplomatic. Uzbek officials and analysts estimated that reduced water flow could cost their agricultural sector up to $600 million every single year, cutting the country's GDP by as much as 2% and putting 340,000 people out of work. Whether those exact numbers hold up, the fear was real. And in a country where agriculture feeds millions, real fear drives real decisions. Reduced water runoff from the Amu Darya, the river fed by the Vaksh, risked severe consequences for Uzbekistan's agricultural sector, with analysts warning of potential famine and mass migration in a worst-case scenario. And Uzbekistan made sure Tajikistan heard that message loud and clear. In 2012, tensions escalated to the point where Uzbekistan's president warned that deterioration of water problems could result in wars. 2 neighbors, 1 river, and a conflict that could have started a war. But for Tajikistan's President Rahmon, this dam was about more than electricity. It was about power. If you control the water, you control the region. Then in 2016, he did something nobody expected. He climbed into a bulldozer, live on national television, and personally blocked the Vaksh River himself. The message was clear. This dam is happening, no matter what. To build it, Tajikistan brought in Webuild, an Italian company that has built over 300 dams around the world. After 40 years of delays, broken deals, and broken promises, the Rogun Dam was finally, truly, under construction. Forget everything you know about dams. Rogun is not a concrete wall. It's essentially a man-made mountain built from rock, gravel, and clay, packed together so tightly that an entire river can't push through it. In just the past year, that mountain grew by 100 meters. Workers moved enough material to fill 5,000 Olympic swimming pools in 1 year. In the middle of a remote valley with freezing winters and summer storms. The scale of this is almost impossible to imagine. More than 180,000 linear meters of injections were carried out, fundamental interventions for consolidating the foundation of the dam and its abutments, and building the hydraulic curtain within the abutments. These injections forced cement deep into the bedrock, essentially stitching the dam to the mountain itself, so that the weight of an entire reservoir can't push it apart from below. More than 18,000 workers are currently deployed on the project, working around the clock to make the most of favorable weather during the summer construction window. That's an entire small city of workers living and operating in one of the most remote construction sites on the planet. Just getting to the construction site is a challenge. It's 100 kilometers from the capital, buried deep in some of Central Asia's most rugged mountains. By August 2025, the dam had already reached 1,110 meters above sea level, still rising. The final height will be 335 meters taller than the Eiffel Tower, taller than any dam ever built. At full power, 6 turbines will generate as much electricity as 3 nuclear reactors. Not from oil, not from gas, from a river. None of this comes cheap. The estimated cost to complete the Rogun project stands at $6.29 billion. As of December 2024, a figure that has risen substantially from earlier estimates of around $4 billion, driven by annual cost inflation, averaging 15% over the past decade, amid technical revisions and supply chain disruptions. For context, Tajikistan's entire annual GDP is roughly $11 billion. This dam is costing more than half the country's yearly economic output. By the end of 2024, the project secured nearly $3 billion in refinancing from a remarkable coalition of international institutions: the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, the European Investment Bank, and the Islamic Development Bank. And the payoff, if it works, is enormous. Once completed, the Rogun Dam will allow Tajikistan to export about 70% of the energy it produces to Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. In return, the country will receive valuable gas supplies, especially during winter months when energy demand is highest. The same neighbor that once threatened war over this dam is now on the list of countries that will buy its electricity. That is a remarkable geopolitical reversal. There is a human cost to all of this. Over 7,000 people have already lost their homes. 40,000 more will. Entire villages swallowed by the rising water. Cemeteries relocated. Generations of history underwater. Some have been given new homes and land. Imagine watching the valley your grandparents were born in disappear beneath a reservoir. Every great megaproject has a hidden cost. At Rogun, tens of thousands of people are that cost. So where does this leave us? Tajikistan's officials have said they aim to achieve energy independence by August 2027. Though engineers note, the reservoir won't reach its full capacity until well into the 2030s. The dam may be built. The full power of it will take years more to unlock. But if they hit even that first milestone, something profound shifts in this part of the world. A country that spent decades without reliable electricity suddenly becomes one that sells it. A country that begged its neighbors for gas suddenly has something they need. That's the power of one dam. It all flows from one river, one dam, and one stubborn decision made in the mountains decades ago that refused to die. The world's energy map is changing fast. The war in Ukraine proved that depending on your neighbor for gas is dangerous. Countries are scrambling for alternatives. And while the world was looking elsewhere, a tiny mountain nation quietly found its own answer. Not oil, not gas, not nuclear, water. Now the real question, the one nobody has fully answered yet, is this. As glaciers across Central Asia shrink at up to 4 times the global average, what happens to a country whose entire future depends on one river still flowing? That's the risk Tajikistan is living with, every single day. But Tajikistan is not the only country making a billion-dollar bet on infrastructure to change its future. On the other side of the world, the Philippines is spending $8 billion to physically connect its islands for the first time in history. Same hunger, same desperation, completely different challenge. That story is next, and trust me, you don't want to miss it.